Hi, welcome to Mommas and Mannies. I'm your host, Trina, and this is a short form podcast for mamas that are looking for a quick burst of me time. So let's go ahead and get started. Each week, we start off with a motivational quote, affirmations, a mantra to help you either get your week off to a great start if you're starting work on Monday, or if you work on the weekend like I do to help end your week on a positive note. So, this week, the episode is going to be about the birth of Mamas and Mannies. So, basically, why I started the podcast. So, the affirmations that we're going to start off with are affirmations for labor or birth. So I thought those were fitting. And I'm going to repeat them. So the first one says, I trust my instincts. I am present. I trust my body to know what to do. I feel confident. I am surrounded by love and support. And I think these are excellent birthing affirmations because they all have to do with almost like some of the fears that come with giving birth, especially for the first time, because no one ever tells you what giving birth is going to be like, especially if you have a vaginal birth. And even if you have a C-section, those are two completely different things. And a lot of times, especially first time moms, you don't know which way it's going to go, if you're going to do vaginal or you're going to have a C-section. So again, those affirmations are, I trust my instincts. I am present. I trust my body to know what to do. I feel confident. I am surrounded by love and support. So let those affirmations sink in for the week and just think about them. Even though they're specifically for the birthing process, I think they're still relevant to just everyday life. So being confident at work, being confident in being a mom, a wife, just a great friend, being present, that can be for anything in life. Just make sure that you're actually absorbing, taking in what's going on with you right now. Guess what time it is? It's mama time. So, as I mentioned earlier, this week I'm going to talk about the birth of Mamas and Mannies. So, just a little background on me. I have been married to my husband for 10 years. Actually, in this year, 2022, we celebrated 10 years of marriage. And we have two little girls. I have a soon to be 5-year-old and a newly 3-year-old. They're actually 23 months apart, so they're close in age. And with my first daughter, it was like I mentioned with doing the motivation at the beginning of the episode. Most people, I knew a few people that had C-sections, but as of recent, and those were people that were older than me, so they have older kids. The people I knew that are around my age, mostly everyone had vaginal births, not natural. They had medication like what is that thing called? I can't think of what it's called. An epidural. They had those. So I only knew one person, I think, that actually had natural births. No, two. So those were the only stories that I knew of. And with my first daughter, I did have a natural birth. Everything was fine, no issues. She came actually really quick. I think we got to the hospital around 7 something. She came at like 9 o'clock. So that's super quick. There was no time to get any type of medication, or definitely not a epidural. So she was, I don't want to say a breeze, because to me, you can't really say giving labor is a breeze, because it's definitely pain and everything else that goes in with having a baby. So after her, things were fine. I still struggled trying to get a schedule together, I think, for the most part, because I still work weekends, but I work weekend nights. So on Mondays was like a family day with the three of us, my husband and my daughter. So we would try to intentionally go out and do something as a family. Even though she was super young, she would never remember any of that. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I had to try to fill my day with things for her. And it's so funny when I look back over it, my daughter was young. She would have been happy if we would have went to the same exact park every day because she didn't know any better. When my second daughter came, same thing. When I got pregnant, I was still working at the same job, working weekend nights. So it was a little bit different. I had to balance just the fact of being pregnant with a small child because at the time she was under 2 years old. She had just turned one, maybe about 6 months or so before I found out I was pregnant. So just doing that, everything was fine with the pregnancy, no issues, which is great. The birth was completely different, a whole nother ball game than my first daughter. We can talk about that in another episode. But after having her, it was a little different trying to adjust to having two kids. I kept the same schedule as far as going out doing stuff. I think on Mondays was still family day. Then same thing, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, filling the day with activities. By that time, my oldest daughter was two. By the time we were able to get out and actually do things, she was two. So we would go to the park, museums, things like that. And then something happened called COVID in 2022. So we basically all stayed in the house, which was fine. And we actually ended up working out. So my youngest daughter is like almost a COVID baby, but a little bit older, where she didn't do a lot of things until like 2021, going to the park, swinging on a swing, all the normal things that kids do. She actually did that later just because of COVID. Now, Mamas and Mannies came about because trying to have balance COVID, being in the house, quarantine, I couldn't think of what it was called. Being in the house with everybody all the time was a lot trying to balance. And I had recently started at another hospital. So trying to do that, I was training during the week. It was just like a lot. And I think my husband actually recommended at first, like taking time for myself, going on a day just for me, even if it was like in the morning because he was working from home. And at that time, both of the girls were small. So my youngest daughter could just stay in her carrier, and then my oldest daughter could easily be entertained by something. So I think I did that. It was something basic. I think the first time I ended up doing like a half self-care day, I ended up doing grocery shopping or maybe shopping for the house, like for stuff like diapers, toilet paper, which was hard to find at that time, and paper towels and things like that. So I think I ended up doing that the first day. So after that, I thought about it and I was like, I think I actually need more of those days. Or it took me a while to actually do like a day specifically for myself. I still don't do a full day all the time. It'll just be a few hours. And now, especially with my daughter, since she started pre-K, it's basically the time I drop her. Well, that's 6 hours. That's a long time when I drop her off until I go pick her up. But just starting out at first, it was more of on Monday nights, my husband has a prior engagement. So on Monday nights, once I put the girls down, it started off as just sit and watch your favorite TV show. Then it may have gone to doing my nails on Monday nights after I take a shower. Then it went to waking up earlier in the morning than everyone else. That was really the first thing that I did. And I think I actually did that in 2020. Just to have some time during the day when no one else was up, no one else was talking, nobody was crying, nobody needed milk or anything like that. It was just me to myself. I could read my Bible. At that time, everybody was doing a conference, so I was able to rewatch conference sessions in the morning, and I would get up at like 5 o'clock. So that would give me almost 3 hours to myself, 2.5, just depending on what time my husband woke up to work. So that is really what started it. And then I started feeling that time with other things, like I do our budget in the morning, but that really helped me. And I know some people probably just dropped their phone when I said I woke up at 5 o'clock. Everyone can't do that. Even if you want to start off by waking up 10, 15, minutes, even 30 minutes, starting with something small before everybody else in your house wakes up. That's good. If you want to enjoy your coffee, your tea, whatever you may do in the morning, just to get in a mental space of calm and peace. That's a great way to start off. And that's exactly how I started off. Then I moved to taking advantage of the Monday nights when my husband had a prior engagement. And then after that, as I mentioned, my husband mentioned the like take a few hours to myself, they stay at home. So that really works out. And I've done a lot better in the last 2 years with filling that time with more of what I like to do. I still will go shopping. I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I do think for me, a form of self care is being able to do grocery shopping for items for the home by myself without my kids. Now, that may change when they're older because I have more time to do other things. But right now, that actually is a form of self care for me. If I want to listen to a playlist, a podcast, or just something else, or complete silence, I can do that while I'm grocery shopping. So, doing two things at once. So, it went to that. And then now I still do Monday evenings. My husband still has that prior engagement. So on Mondays, I watch a favorite podcast that I like to watch that helps educate my mind on the stock market and other things like that. And then also, I still do my nails. If I want to do something on social media, I definitely do that as well. But I call them Mama Days. I do them at least twice a month. If I can get in more, that's fine. I fill them now with brunch or lunch with friends or line sisters from college. Also, sometimes I'll just fill it with buying stuff for myself. So I've taken a more conscious effort to do things that are, for a lack of words, self centered to myself, like selfish things. And when you first start off, it may not be that easy. You may have to get your schedule together, like you may have to shop on another day, but it's really important to take the time to yourself. And another thing I've done is started therapy. I've mentioned this before in earlier episodes. Just being able to talk to someone from a neutral stance, that has really helped me. Just being able to reframe, think about something, and just talk to someone else and say, am I crazy for that? Or was that crazy? Or does that make any sense? And that person is able to, in a non biased way, actually walk through the situation with me. So, those are a few things that actually created Mamas and Mannies. And then the podcast, I really created the podcast because I was still lacking with some self care on a regular basis. So when I do the podcast, it's actually a form of self care for me, even though my husband records me. But I'm still able to do things that I enjoy. Reading the affirmations are excellent for me. I've always struggled with self esteem, self confidence, and also just other lacking in certain things. So reading the affirmations are wonderful. I usually pick them out to help myself, and I hope they help you as well. Doing the affirmations, doing my nails, facials, all the fun things you see me doing. That is really why I started Mamas and Mannies, the podcast, to give other mamas that may be struggling, like I say every episode, to get in a quick burst of me time. All the episodes are short, so that gives you the opportunity. I try to, and the title of the episode, to let you know what's going on. So if it says a face mask or a facial, you have an idea, okay, she's going to do something with her face. If it says a mani or a pedi, I'm going to do that. So get your things together when you see the title of the episode, when it drops on each Monday. That way you can join in. You can listen to the affirmations at the beginning, also, and participate in the self-care during the episode. So that is actually the birth of Mamas and Mannies. I created the podcast to get in some self-care for myself and also to help mamas with little ones to do the same thing. So as always, leave a comment below. Let me know what you're doing for self-care. What's your favorite form of self-care and why? Click the like button to show support. And I'm looking at my notes because I always forget. Click the like button to show support that you enjoyed this episode. And most important, definitely share the episode with another mama that may be going through the same thing. You see, she always looks stressed, and you're like, man, she could use a quick burst of me time. So definitely share the episode with her. And rewatch this one if you want to get some ideas. Subscribe to the channel so you'll know when an episode drops on Monday. And hit the bell for notifications. And remember, me time is essential and is never selfish. Have a great week, mama.